Let's begin by settling the body, adopting a stable, comfortable, upright position, serviceable for meditation. So we think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open. Hands in the lap, right over left, with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. We try to maintain an awareness of not slouching, not leaning. We also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position, just allowing the body to fall into place. And we begin to let go of attending to the outside world, allowing whatever sights or sounds are in the environment to be as they are. No need to investigate. Constraining our awareness just to the body and mind. And then begin to concentrate that awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation that accompanies the in-breath and the out-breath in the space around the opening of the nostrils. Breathing naturally, normally, but giving ourselves the instruction to quickly notice when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind. And then, without judgment or frustration, to lift our awareness up from those distractions and to place it gently but firmly, again and again on the breath. And then, when the mind becomes more calm, we'll generate a broad and altruistic motivation for our time. We recognize that not only is there no difference between oneself and other ordinary sentient beings, but there's no fundamental difference between oneself and the enlightened beings. The historical Buddha, all of the innumerable sentient beings, the past, the present, the future that will achieve, are achieving, or have achieved their own enlightenment. My mind and their mind are of the same nature. It's simply a difference of the energy and the effort that is put into developing certain realizations, certain levels of understanding. And the reason that sentient beings apply themselves to that goal, the goal that is the entire premise of the Lamrim tradition, is to become truly capable of being of benefit to sentient beings. Our ability right now is quite limited. We can help sentient beings in some ways, but ultimately we don't know how to truly help them because we ourselves are still under the influence of karma and delusion. We must become free of that in order to be most effective for sentient beings. Try to develop that understanding, that confidence, and that we are engaging in a reliable, repeatable path of training, and the fruit of which can be accomplished by anyone, given enough time, enough effort. And the goal of that practice will allow us to be completely free of any pain, any obstacles, any difficulty, which is a state from which we are able to work for the benefit of others without any limitation. I think of wanting to achieve all of those goals and using our time together to do so. And with that motivation, we begin more earnestly our exploration of the middle scope. The purpose of the contemplations in the middle scope are to develop a sense of weariness, a sense of disenchantment with cyclic existence as a whole. And that process only makes sense if later you join all of that striving that had been devoted to creating our samsara with a new goal, the goal of complete liberation, complete enlightenment. So these contemplations can be challenging, as we don't want to contemplate the drawbacks of cyclic existence, which is one of the major ways that disenchantment is accomplished. But also it requires a further Buddhist context of replacing. In and of itself, disenchantment is of no real benefit. It has to be what gives us the space to replace striving for samsara with striving for enlightenment. But for the next number of weeks, we will be exploring in great detail the first noble truth of unsatisfactory experiences, by looking at the drawbacks of cyclic existence. So we'll begin with the first four of the eight, and are called the eight general sufferings. The first of these four is birth itself. And we literally mean the process of entering into a particular incarnation. So we can think back in the human experience. Although the moment of a human birth is celebrated from the perspective of that fetus and infant, they have spent 9 months in a dark, confined space. And as they engaged in the process of being born, their bodies were compressed. And they began to experience a bright, cold environment with incredibly loud sounds. Their skin was incredibly sensitive to all of these new tactile experiences. This was a shocking experience. And it delivers the infant into a state of complete helplessness. The inability to meet any of our needs, to move independently, to feed ourselves. Our only avenue is to try to draw attention. They're crying. And this also marks the beginning of the aging process. The first moment of coming together in the womb of body and mind sets in motion the unbroken process of change. For a while, that process leads to increasing capacity. But then there's a tipping point where that process begins to lead to diminishing capacities, which is the suffering of aging. Over time, our strength diminishes, our stamina fades, tasks become more difficult. The body loses its vigor. Our sense faculties begin to lose their power. Conversations become more difficult to follow. Taste and smell diminish. And our memory, our mental sense function becomes less reliable. So think of this process of birth and aging. And see it as disadvantageous. See it as something that is marked by dissatisfaction, suffering. And see it as a hallmark of being under the control of karma and delusion, which is delivering us into these experiences over and over and over without choice. And then the next suffering is sickness. Over the course of our lives, again and again, we are subject to various illnesses. Even in 1 year, we can experience 3, 4 different kinds of illness in the body. And as we age, the frequency, the intensity of these illnesses can increase. At a certain point, illness may be the principal cause of separating from this life. But throughout our lives, we're never free, we're never beyond the reach of illness. Think of all of the fear that arises in the mind, the mental suffering about imagined future illnesses, the impact of current illnesses. Think again, as long as I am under the influence of karma and delusion, as long as that is the origin of my body, I will be subject to all of the sufferings of illness. And then finally is the suffering of death, having to separate from this life. The process itself can bring pain, physical pain, mental pain, can bring fear, fear of the unknown, fear of loss, the unfamiliar, can give rise to feelings of regret. But here again, the separation of body and mind in this life is inevitable, as this body and this mind have as their origin past karma mixed with delusion. So, not only in this life, but in the next life, and the one after that, and the one after that, endlessly, there will be birth, aging, death, as long as its cause of karma mixed with delusion is not overcome. These sufferings are not punishment, nor are they accidental. They're simply built in to ordinary existence. So now try to allow these contemplations to give rise to a determination to definitely emerge from this sea of suffering. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll dedicate. So recollect your altruistic motivation and think that by having engaged in this contemplation, you've actualized that motivation, which has generated positive energy in your mind, and think that you freely offer the fruit of your practice, that positive energy, for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception. And strongly, when this positive energy ripens, may it serve as a cause and condition to eliminate war and conflict, poverty, famine, disease, disasters, all painful inner and outer conditions. May it fully ripen the minds of all sentient beings. May they quickly meet perfect teachers and arise in the state of full enlightenment. May I too achieve the state of enlightenment, so that I might work for the benefit of sentient beings perfectly. May any obstacles facing the Guru's long life be completely dispelled. May I and all sentient beings in this moment come under the joyful care and guidance of enlightened beings. May we be guided and protected until we swiftly achieve that state of enlightenment. Thank you.